screen. So tonight what we're going to work on is, let me pull up GitHub and just show you. So if you go to the Nonprofit Navigator site, I'll go ahead and just get it live so everyone can see what we have so far. We've been working on this.
You're not live yet.
Oh, I'm not sharing? Hold on. There we go. Cool. So we've come a long way in a short amount of time. A lot of it was just trial and error. Attendees of the boot camp making suggestions, asking questions, doing the best they could possibly do to build things. Like at first we were styling the HTML with IDs. Eventually we moved over to classes because it's just it's better. It's more of the best practice as far as when you encounter CSS being applied to HTML in the industry. It's typically with classes, and then we're using IDs for our JavaScript. And so we're sort of taking a big step now. So we're moving from, the last thing we did was we extracted this volunteer list data out of our JavaScript file. So we basically shrunk our JavaScript file from about 300 lines of code to 158 lines of code. And we're going to cut it up even more now. So you can see we have our data.js, and this is about 170 lines of code, and it contains objects. So this is one of our objects. An object is a volunteer opportunity that gives people who are interested in getting involved in nonprofit organizations an opportunity to just learn about the organization and what they're doing. So this is all dummy data. The next feature that we build is, at least I think, unless you guys want to build a different feature, is going to be giving nonprofit companies the ability to enter their information and just like make their information available to everybody else, and then the information that they enter will replace this data, so we won't have any dummy data anymore. So yeah, what we're going to be doing today is two things. So the first thing, actually three things, but I'll just go over it. So the first thing we're going to be doing is, and you can see we only have mobile styles for now. So this is the home page so far. We're not working on the navigation or the footer right now. Our main focus is just the volunteer search feature. And so if you click explore, you go to our cards, you can see we have our cards that are rendering from the volunteer data that I showed you here. And then when you click on one of these, it brings you to the actual page where you can get more information and actually sign up. And so the thing we're going to do first today is we're going to style this, and everybody's going to choose an issue to work on. You'll break out into groups and you'll have a chance to actually make your own pull requests. So that's what I want to start moving into too, because for all the previous sessions, I've been leading it. I've been creating a live share link with the live share extension, inviting everybody into my code editor. We're coding together, and then at the end of the night, I do a pull request with everybody so you could see me working through it. Now we have people who have been here every single night, like Liz and Parker and Ricky, and Warren's been here a lot. Oh, James has been here a lot. Ivinko has been here a lot. So there are a couple people who have seen this done multiple times at this point. So I'll be looking at you guys to actually lead a group and make a pull request on your own tonight. So that'll be very exciting. To look at the Figma design, so this is basically what we're going to be doing. I went ahead and I added some styles to what I want this page to look like. So right now we have our image, and then we have just HTML with no style at all. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding these styles here. I'm going to go through the issues one by one, and I'm going to let you all choose which issue you want to work on and who you want to work with. But basically this is what it'll look like. So we'll have call center representative with our image at the top, the name of the organization, the focus of the organization, a button for them to get involved. Oh, forgot to move these back. Figured I'd add those just for a nice touch. We got a paragraph of the description. We'll just put read more for now. Later we'll build functionality where like we'll only list like the first 60 characters of the description, and then the read more will show the entire description if they want to read more. But right now we'll just get the static HTML in there, and then we'll have this section down here. So this section I expect more people to work on together. But let me go ahead and just pull open the issues. So add an opportunity field to each piece of data. I want everybody to understand the issues that we're going to be working on tonight. That way, when you go into your group, you could just hop right into it and have a minimal amount of questions, though I am here if you have any other questions. So the first one is just add an opportunity field. Each object within our volunteer opportunity array has a name. So if you look at our opportunity array, here's like the first opportunity object, here's a second opportunity object, and it continues. So we have our name, but it doesn't have the name of the actual opportunity. So if you look at the design, the suicide hotline is the name, but like what's the position? Like what's this organization actually looking for help with? So is it like a call representative, an office worker, community support? What is it? So this is just one issue right here. We need someone to hop into this dummy data and just underneath name, add a new property called position or something of that nature, and just add a position that you think would be fitting for whatever the organization is. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you'll just create 7 positions for each one of the, and this is really a one-person job, honestly, but I'd say like 2 tops, because it's really, really simple. You're literally just adding a property to this data. That'll be done really fast. So the second issue is going to be add opportunity title and organization title to the top of each volunteer detail page, and that's just this. So whoever's doing this issue, whatever team is doing this issue here, is going to be working directly with the person who's actually adding the position, because you can't complete this until the positions have been added to the object. So basically you'll be adding the position, you'll be adding the organization name, you'll be adding the focus, and you'll be doing the styling for it. Styling to match the Figma design, and you could just do that the best you possibly can. As far as like letter spacing, font size, color, bold, font weight, text align, you know, so there's different, play around, do some searches, figure it out. It's pretty simple styling. So that's the second one. We'll have a group just working on this, busting that out. And then we have add the I want help button. So same thing, just something simple down here. This button, which I'd say, again, 2 people tops. It should not take more than like 10 or 15 minutes. Unless you're brand new, then yeah, it might take like 45 minutes or something like that, or more. But yeah, pretty simple. You know, the hardest part will probably be maybe centering it. I don't know, everything else seems pretty straightforward. So this is just styling this button to match the Figma design. Boom. The add paragraph and read more button. So someone will add the paragraph and read more button. Again, very simple, just styling. Just do your best to match the Figma design and work with the people who are on the other stuff, because like this call center representative, the weight of this looks very similar to the weight of this. So you want to coordinate with them and just say, hey, like, what weight are you using? What weight looks good for you? I want to make sure my weight matches your weight, kind of thing. So definitely a lot of communication. And then the last one is style the information box. So I'd say for this one, let's have at least 4 people, just because it's a little bit bigger. So same thing, we'll have someone styling the map, using the images, font size, text align, pretty basic stuff. So I'd say even like 2 or 3 people would be good on this one too. It's just a little bit bigger, but it's still around the same amount of styles. And so what you'll do is You're going to choose one of these issues here, and each issue has a number. So this one is number 32. I would say when you go ahead and create the issue on your local repository, so whoever the leader is going to be doing exactly what I'm doing right now. And so you can see if I run git branch A, I'm on the volunteer search branch right now. We don't want to push anything directly to the volunteer search branch. We actually want to create like a task branch. And so if I'm working on this feature or this task right here, number 32, I would say git checkout B32. That's really as clear as it gets. And if you want to just be even clearer with just a little text description, so like paragraph, you could do that too. And then you can see if I run git branch again, I'm now on here. I could start making my changes, adding my code. And then once I'm done with that, how am I staging, committing, and pushing to this branch in GitHub? James. Once we've completed the task, we're on our 32 paragraphs, so we've completed the issue that we chose, me and my teammate. Now I want to stage the changes that I just coded up. I want to commit the changes that I just made, and I want to push them to GitHub. How do I do that?
Okay, if you ask me, Jim, I told you before, I'm really lost with GitHub. I tried to do it myself. I'm trying to use Navigator, GitHub Desktop, and it's not working for me.
Okay, that's okay. No.
Download
Yeah, nah, you're good, man. You're good. No sweat. I'm just asking. So I'm gonna move to someone else. Let's say Parker, you unmuted. So Warren, you unmuted too. So Parker or Warren, whoever says it first, go ahead.
Well, didn't you start with like git status? It would show you what changes you've made.
Yep. That works.
After that, isn't it don't just add to commit, use git add or git commit. Well, if you do git commit, if you do git commit, and then you do like the -A, I think you have to add a comment there, if I'm correct.
Yes, so you're right. It's going to be git add with the files that you want to stage, and then then you want to commit those staged files. So it would be git commit -M to add a message,
Yeah.
and then your message. And then last but not least, we want to push it up to GitHub. How do we do that?
What's it called? Git. It's not git push.
Yes, exactly. It's git push. So if you haven't connected the branch that you created to GitHub yet, it's going to have you do git push -u origin and the name of your branch just to connect your branch to the remote repository. But yep, it's git push to keep it simple. So yes, that's the process right there. And if you get stuck at any time, feel free to just reach out to someone else in the group or just ask me, and we'll help you through it. So there's going to be everybody working in the CSS file during this portion of the boot camp, and so we're probably going to get some merge conflicts, and that's totally fine. We'll work through them in the GitHub repo. And then one other thing. So we're going to have at least 2 people per issue for this section. Like I said, like 2 people working on this, 2 people working on this, 2 people working on this. But simultaneously, I want to challenge at least 2 people to work together to do this. So if you look at our nonprofit navigator site, if we click on one of our things, we have a map here. And so what we're going to be using is Google Maps. We're going to be using Google Maps API to actually use the location information to show the actual map of the location here. And so I want to challenge a couple people to go to the Google Maps documentation kind of just read through it, figure it out a little bit. You know that we're going to be using the street address, the name, the city name, the state, and the zip code to find the exact location. How do we use this location to display a map in HTML? I did it a long time ago. I haven't used Google Maps in a little while, but it really comes down to just parsing the documentation and figuring out how to render it based on the values that you give it. So I challenge a couple people to go and explore that as well. So the reason why I'm challenging a couple people to go out and explore that API is because that's something that we're going to be integrating into the website. That's, I would say, that's in between, that's like just passing introductory and moving into the more intermediate JavaScript. And so I want to kind of take out introduction and intermediate simultaneously today. So for those who do go out and explore the documentation and do some research, figure out exactly how we're going to implement this, you're going to have the chance to articulate what you found, and just share a little bit about what you found, you know. So you're going to have the chance to just develop your research skills, your communication skills, and, you know, your problem solving skills. And read some documentation, because that's another useful skill. Yeah, so we'll start with that, and we will go from there. So let me just ask, who wants to lead a group? Who wants to go ahead and use live share and lead a group? So I have 3 breakout rooms. I could go ahead and create more if there's more. We have 3 for now. So we don't have to do all the issues at the same time. Like, we could go ahead and just do like these 3 issues tonight. That's totally fine. And just use 3 breakout rooms, and you have teams of like 3 or 4. So however you guys want to do it, feel free. But I know Ricky, Parker, Liz, for sure, y'all have some experience and understand live share pretty well.
I'll try the HTML and CSS.
You'll try it?
Yeah, 31 or 32.
31?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, cool. And then, are you comfortable with live share?
Is that just me typing live for everyone to see?
No, so live share is an extension. So if you go to your extensions and you type in live share, it's the first one that pops up. It was created by Microsoft, so it's secure, it's safe. And basically it's like Google Docs. So if you share a Google Doc link with me, I click that link and I hop into your Google Doc. And if you're making modifications to the Google Doc, I can see them happening on my screen. If I'm making modifications to the Google Doc, you see them happening on your screen. And so it's just like a really great collaborative tool, but designed for code. So pop in here. If you don't have it yet, just install it. And then if you don't see live share at the bottom of your Visual Studio Code, like on my screen here, if you hover over it, it says start collaboration session. When you click this, it's going to give you a link, and then just share the link with your partners so that your partners could hop into your code editor and actually code with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And if you have any trouble, let me know. You seem like someone who's taken the initiative, and you want to lead a group and take charge. So definitely feel free to go ahead, get this set up. I'm not too worried about you. And if you need any help, let me know. And yeah, we'll go from there. So Warren's going to do issue 31. The help button, that is this one right here. And who wants to work with Warren? We need 1 or 2 people.
I'll do the other one. 32.
32, Parker?
Say.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So we got Parker doing 32. Let me go in here and just... I think you're in here, right, Parker? Parker Smith. There we go. You could even assign yourself to it. Yeah, come in and just assign yourself to the issue, so I don't have to do it one by one.
Okay, yeah.
And then, yeah, so I'd say Warren, if you want to hop down to breakout room number 1. Parker, you hop down to breakout room number 2. And then I'll send a team your way.
Okay.
All right, so we have
Cool.
at least one more breakout room. Who wants to lead one more group with one of the issues? We could just do 3 tonight. That's totally fine. What's up, Kayla? We got a new person. Liz, what do you want to do?
I don't know. I can do whatever.
All right, cool. You want to hop in with Warren then?
You just cut out. Hop in with, and then.
Hop in with Warren. I'm gonna send probably one more person to your team too.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. And then Ivinko, you want to hop down there with Warren and Liz?
With who?
With Warren and Liz, breakout room number 1.
Sure.
All right, cool. And then, all right, and then let's see. As far as like people I know who have been here, I'd say Ricky. I think you could definitely lead a team. I trust you. You've been here. You're really good.
I'll give it a try. Remember the language barrier though.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. And then which one would you want to work on, Ricky, with your team?
Is 30 taken already?
30 is not taken.
Yeah, happy to do that.
All right, cool. So you'll do 30. Feel free to just hop into the GitHub repo and claim the issue. And
Yep.
then, yeah, let me see. Who do we got here? So we got James. I would say, James, you want to hop down with Parker?
Jim, where did you want me to go?
You want to go to breakout room number 2 with Parker?
Okay.
Okay. And then Warren, what's up?
No, I was coming back here because I honestly don't know how to start the work. Like I'm in your GitHub here, but I'm trying to figure out how to get it to like my VS Code down here.
Oh,
I got
you
the live
you don't have
and
the
everything.
you don't have the code in your code editor?
Code in my code editor. I'm sorry.
You don't have the code in your code editor? Like you have you pulled the code from GitHub to your local repository yet?
No, I have not.
Okay. All right, I'll hop into breakout room with you guys then.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get you all set up, and then we'll go ahead and move forward.
Okay.
Cool. And then we got.
Hey, my microphone isn't working on the breakout. Do you think there's a permission thing in the breakouts?
Yeah, let me see. Connect, speak, video. Oh, that's probably it right there.
Let me just go back over there.
Yeah, you should be good now. Yeah, you should be good. My bad. All right. And then Ricky, you want to hop out into breakout room number 3 with who else has communication? Is everyone else just free members?
I do.
Oh, Javier. Okay, cool. So Javier and Ricky, do y'all want to work together then?
I'm happy to.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Pop out into breakout room number 3, and I'll pop in and make sure y'all are getting set up, good to go.
Cool.
And then as far as everybody else goes, I don't believe that you are. Actually, I think Fisher, you're a paying member, so you could feel free to hop down into either breakout room number 2 or breakout room number 3. Each team is just working on an issue. Just simple HTML, CSS right now, and then we're going to transition to some more advanced MVC model view controller stuff in the second half of the session. Kayla and Kai, I believe y'all are muted. I think y'all are just attending for now. If you do want to go ahead and get access to communication and access the code and all that stuff, feel free to go to announcements. The last announcement I made was the change in the subscription. We were doing everything through Discord before, but Discord was just really bad. it wasn't good. So we're just doing everything through Patreon now.
Yeah,
And you could do
I'm
a
sorry.
7-day free trial too, so you don't have to worry about like
Yeah.
paying if you don't like pay. Hold on one second, I'm in the middle of talking. So yeah, feel free, and if you have any questions, just reach out to me directly. What's up, James?
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with it. I have to.
Okay, no sweat. Cool. So Parker, I'd say join breakout room number 3.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, what's going on? You want to share your screen, Warren?
Yeah.
I'm just, well, we're just trying to figure out how to put it into the GitHub desktop.
Yep. Yeah, we'll pull the code to your local computer, and then once you have the code on your local computer, then you can invite them into code along with you.
All right. It's gonna make me quit Discord and come back in. I'm just giving my computer access. I'll be right back.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Yeah.
How are you doing, Jim?
Pretty good. Yeah, I was looking forward to this class since Monday, since my system was down. I'm like, man, I haven't been doing any coding with the group in a while. I missed it. Yeah.
Just tell me if I need more improvement because I'm doing what I can.
Yeah. Does that need ever go away?
No, it doesn't. It never does.
I take it you can't hear me. No, Liz, we can't hear you. Hold on one second. It's definitely something with the settings. Give me a minute. All right.
Just copy and paste it on the chat so that we can find it.
Yeah.
Are you seeing my screen, Jim?
Hold on just 1 second. Use voice activity, priority speaker.
Jim, I think Liz is not getting permission to.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now, actually. I don't know how to make myself be heard. Let's see. She should be able to unmute, I think. Yeah. So give me one second. Give me 1 second.
How about now?
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
There it is.
Cool. All right, let's see your screen. All right, cool. So, do you have a location in your local project or in your local computer for the project?
I can make one. I don't know if I had one already made.
Okay, cool. So let's do this. Let's do so this is O1 Software Network. So go ahead and go to fork. Yep. Fork. Yep. Create the fork for your GitHub. So this is going to take the nonprofit navigator and create a copy of it in your GitHub repository. So now you have this in your GitHub repository. Now what you want to do is you want to go to code. No, the green one, yep. And just copy that link. All right. And then go to your command line. And navigate to a location where you keep your projects, like where you want to store this project, basically.
Yeah, whichever drive you want.
Yep. I just have like a directory called project sort of thing, but everyone's different. It's really preference at the end of the day.
Alright, I guess I'll just put it in my documents. Let's see the documents. And then just copy and paste it.
So, all right. So you're in the documents. Hold on. Let me.
I'm in my documents folder right now.
All right. So you're in your documents folder right now, and then I would say do create a directory just called projects, because you have like tons of stuff in your documents probably, so you don't want to store all your projects with all your documents. So do mkdir space
Oh, make directory.
projects. There you go. So now you have that, and then cd into projects. Yes. All right. Now do git clone and paste the link. Git clone and then paste the
Okay.
yeah,
I see what you're saying.
Git clone and then copy and
there
paste.
you go. Cool. Do dir. Enter. Do ls. Enter.
It's probably LS.
LS what? Just LS?
Just ls. Enter. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you got Nonprofit Navigator in there now. So cd into Nonprofit Navigator. You could even just do like NON and then tab should just auto complete it for you.
Really?
Yeah. All right, so you're in there, and you can see you're on the main branch. So do git branch dash a. All right, so you have a main. You don't even have.
Yeah, the CSS.
You don't have the volunteer search branch. So do git fetch.
You have to get out of
Yeah, I think it might be Q.
or control Q.
It's control C for me, but I think when I see the end, it was always Q or escape.
That's not it.
What command line is that? Mac?
Yeah.
I think it's. Oh yeah.
I don't know how to get out of it.
Hold on.
Q, control Q.
Type Q to get out of there. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so it is Q.
Yep. All right, cool. So do a git fetch, and then check git branch A again. All right, so you have a head, you have a main, and then pull up your go to.
Oh yeah, go into main and see if there's any files under main.
There's not an updated. Go to the project in your GitHub repository. So see the Nonprofit Navigator in your actual repository behind the command line, and click on the main branch on the top left of the code. Yeah. Alright, so you only have the main branch. Hold on, let me see how to. Give me a second. I'm just gonna ask ChatGPT real quick how to make sure you have.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because if, like I just did all that along, and if I open it in my VS Code, I don't even have that data file or anything.
Yeah, because the main branch is like we're not actually making any pull requests to the main branch right now. We're waiting until we actually finish the volunteer branch. So let me just see, because I've done a fork before, and I actually got all the branches as well. Let's see.
You can use ChatGPT to look for certain things, but you have to know what you're looking for. So it's a drawback.
Do you think doing a pull? Oh no, because it would still be main branch, wouldn't it?
It might have been my fault, the way that I set up the project. Yeah, it's saying just stuff about branch visibility. So the original repository might have branches that are not visible to the public, only the branches that are public at the time of forking will be included in your fork. So, all right, my bad about that. That's my fault.
You guys are saying a lot of stuff that I don't understand, but I'm struggling along.
Yeah.
Just trying to learn by doing.
Yeah, so basically we do all of our work on different branches. So we have our main branch, which is like, that's where, when we're done working on a feature entirely,
I follow that so far.
yeah, we'll push that into the main branch. So lately, like the last month, we've been working on the volunteer search feature. And the volunteer search feature isn't done yet, so we haven't pushed it into the main branch yet. We've just been creating branches off of the volunteer search branch, and like to-dos and tasks, and then when we're done with those to-dos and tasks, we merge them into the volunteer search branch. So we've been just building the code on the volunteer search branch. When that volunteer search branch is done, then we'll merge it into the main branch. And so because the volunteer search branch in the GitHub repository that I originally created is set to private and not public, then when you made the fork from my GitHub repository to your GitHub repository to copy it, it didn't include the forks that, I mean, it didn't include the branches that were on the 01 repository. So you only got the main branch because the main branch is the only public branch in that repo. So all I have to do is make these branches public. So anyone who forks this project also forks all of the branches with the project, and then you'll have to refork. So let me just see, how do I make these all public?
Is there a way I could watch you do this? You watch you do this?
Yes, I'm actually figuring it out right now. So yeah, give me a minute.
That is interesting. You said there was a document that people usually make, right?
There's what?
A document that tells you all that you need to set up in order to make everything go faster. Just wondering what that would look like.
Yeah, I mean, the documentation for a lot of this stuff already exists. So you'd be recreating stuff that already exists. It really comes down to like doing quick searches to figure it out. Like kind of how I'm doing it right now. Like obviously we don't all have all the answers for everything, but finding the answers with one question or two questions is a skill. There were times in the past where it took me like 30 questions to find the answer in like 3 hours, you know? So the skill that you're going to be trying to develop here when you're like, oh man, what? There's no forks. Why? Like figuring that out within like two or 3 minutes is, yeah, you want to figure it out fast. You know what I'm saying? So you'll get that because this information is already out there. So if I went ahead and I created documentation for this, I would literally be spinning my wheels because you're just recreating documentation that already exists. And then if everybody's doing research to find the answers to the problems that they're encountering when they are doing coding, they're going to find the more popular documentation or the documentation that was created by the company who created GitHub or whatever before they find mine. So it'd almost be like not really worth it. But yeah, I'm sharing my screen right now, so I'll show you just a couple of the searches I did. The first thing I did was I wasn't given all the branches from the GitHub repo I forked. Why? And this is obviously the one right here, branch visibility. So there are some other things I knew right away just looking. It's not network issues or errors, and it's not the forking process because you forked the project and it forked successfully to your repo, so it's not that. It's definitely branch visibility. And then I asked, how do I make the branches public? It's really that simple. And so I need to actually convert this project from a public repository to or from a private to a public, and I believe that's just in settings. So let me see. Here we go, change repository. This repository is currently public. Okay, so it is public. If the repository is already public, there's no further action needed. All branches in a public repository are automatically public. Working with forks, if your fork repository and the original repository is private, you won't be able to make branches public unless the original repository is made public. Okay, so yes, it is public. You want to ensure the fork's branches are also public. Yes. So, add the original repository as a remote. You can name this remote anything. Let's see. Okay. So what we'll do then, looks like another option is just adding them manually. Okay, so here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you the link to the original repo, which is just this one here. I'm gonna post it in the chat here. And it looks like what you wanna do is you wanna set the original repo as the upstream. And then, yeah, okay. So when I told you to do the git fetch request, you were doing a git fetch on your repo that you forked from your GitHub repository. But if you do the fetch from the original repo, the one that I created, then you should have access to all the branches. All right, cool. That makes sense.
I think I'm following you, so I'm trying to figure out how do I guess, backtrack all of that.
So, all right, so here.
Do we need to refork what you just gave us?
No, so this is basically, you want to go ahead and share your screen again, Warren, and I'll
Yeah.
walk you through it. All right, so in the chat, I posted the link to the GitHub repo. So take this line of code in the chat that says git remote add upstream and replace original repo URL with the link just above it.
Can you, I'm sorry, there was like feedback and I don't know if you can repeat what you just said. I know that's terrible to ask you, but.
No, it's all good. I'm wondering because that's like it's happened a couple times now, so I'm wondering what's going on my end. Can you hear me?
You want to mute us before you start talking?
Can you see my screen, guys?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you currently. Actually, Warren's screen isn't loading either.
Yeah, Warren, your screen's not loading. You want to stop it and restart it? Yeah. So this will be good because once we get you set up and good to go, then you'll be good moving forward. Like we won't have to do this setup again. You'll just be good to go. So yeah, take that git remote add upstream original repo URL and paste that into your command line.
If you apologize for hitting him, that ain't like he would be hitting you. You get what I'm saying? And if he didn't get you words, he doesn't.
What's going on, Kayla? You got a little background noise going there. Thank you. I don't know if you're watching TV or what, but welcome though. Thanks for joining. Yeah, so go ahead and post that git remote add upstream in your command line. Okay. And then delete everything in between the angle brackets, including the angle brackets. Okay. And then replace what you just deleted with the link above that prompt. So it's just the HTTPS github.com all one software network nonprofit navigator.git. Just a link though, yeah. So what you're doing here is you're setting the original repo as the upstream that you're gonna fetch updates from. So that when you do fetch, like what are the new branches in the repo, you're fetching them from the original. So if we're adding like a new feature, different branches, different tasks, different to-dos, no matter what's added, that's the repo that you're going to be pulling from. So on your computer now, whenever you do a git fetch, all the
It's
updates
supposed to
is
be
gonna
pulling from that.
it's gonna be pulling from the original. Yep. So, but
So
when
just
when you
press
make a push though, it's gonna go to your GitHub repo. That's how we want to set it up. Yeah. So go ahead, press enter. Yep. All right. So you're good there, and then I'm gonna go ahead and post another command here, right here in the chat. Run that one right there. Git fetch upstream. Enter. All right. Do git branch dash a. Perfect. Okay. So now you have access to the volunteer branch. You could see that the volunteer branch, all the red ones are the ones that are in the remote repository. All the ones that are white or green are like main, and then there'll be some other ones when you actually pull them over. Those are the ones that are on your local computer. So go ahead and do. You actually haven't created any on your local yet, so go ahead and run this command here. So you're gonna create a branch, right?
Okay.
And so do
git checkout.
Git checkout dash B is gonna create a new branch. And go ahead and create the volunteer search branch. Yeah. So just call it. You don't have to put the brackets. Just do. See how just above where you're at right now, you could see volunteer search. Just literally copy and paste it the way it is right there. Yeah, there you go. Paste that and then do space. And then you want that to match the upstream / volunteer branch. So copy upstream / volunteer branch.
Okay.
Instead of copying just, yeah, there you go. You got it. You got it.
Was this what you were talking about?
No, you could go back to the command line. See,
Okay.
yeah, yep, right there. There you go.
If I also do that, am I messing anything up?
No, you're good. Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone who wants to like lead a group will have to set it up like this. All right, press enter.
Git checkout dash B volunteer underscore search at our space upstream / volunteer search.
Yeah, so the name of your new branch is going to be volunteer search, and it's going to be a copy of the upstream's volunteer search branch, basically. Boom. So git branch A, now you should be on the volunteer search branch. Yes, okay. Do quit out of here, do Q, and run code space dot.
Well, base is one thing.
Code and then space dot. Yeah.
Code dot.
Yeah, enter. Oh, what code editor do you use?
iTerm.
Oh, okay. I wonder what the command for iTerm is. Hold on 1 second. You don't have Visual Studio Code?
Yeah. Should I be doing it in that terminal?
Well, not necessarily. You should be able to access Visual Studio Code from the command line, though. So you probably just don't have the executable for Visual Studio Code set up in your path. But we could set it up another day because that's kind of outside the scope of this. But it's pretty easy. Basically wherever you downloaded Visual Studio Code and installed it, you're gonna have an executable within that package, and so all you have to do is find the path to that executable. Like, let's just say, for example, you downloaded Visual Studio Code and like program files, Visual Studio Code, and or something like that. Then you would just copy that path. So like C drive, Warren is the username. So like C drive, Warren, project files, Visual Studio Code, the path that leads all the way to the executable. and copy and paste that path into your environment variables. And once you copy that path, the binaries, then you'll be able to run this command code dot, and then you'll be able to just Visual Studio Code will just open up for you right away from the command line. So it just makes it a little bit simpler, but it's not too important here. So go ahead and just open up Visual Studio Code manually. I just want to make sure the code that we're seeing in Visual Studio Code is matching the current volunteer search code that we have. So go to File, Open. And then just find the Nonprofit Navigator wherever you saved it.
No, I don't know where these the project folder. It was in my documents, but it didn't show up.
All right. So documents, and then there should be a project in there. So projects.
Yeah, I was looking for the project folder. I don't see it. And it's all.
Type search. Go into search at the top right. Just type project. Did you press enter? You pressed enter?
Yeah.
Searching documents, so maybe it's just taking a little while. Yeah, because it was documents. You were in documents and you created it, so. I wonder if, you know how like with Git files, sometimes you can't see them. I wonder if there's something going on with.
It's like a hidden file.
Yeah,
Did you name it projects plural with an S?
I think so.
Yeah. Hold on. What was it? I have to find that.
Go to recents actually. Recents it'll probably be in recents.
Yeah, my recents file is empty.
Huh. Oh. Huh. That's strange.
Press Command Shift plus Command Shift. It's not showing anything.
Go to the command line one more time. Let's just make sure it is in that place. Documents P. It's not called projects, it's called P. Huh. Well, actually, it's not in your documents with the capital D. It's in your documents with the lowercase d. So that might actually be somewhere else. Right? Is it? Oh, there you go. Nice. Perfect. All right, open up Nonprofit Navigator right there. Not any of the individual files, but just the Nonprofit Navigator directory. Yeah, right there.
I just kind of throw it into this.
Just click on it and press open, right? I guess that works. There you go. And then, all right, cool. And so do a git pull just to make sure, because it doesn't look like it's updated based on the current code we have. Go to main.js real quick. Yeah, so the data's still in here. All right, so do a git pull on the command line. That should do it. No, it's not.
It says it's already up to date.
Do Hold on, give me 1 second. All right, do in your command line run git remote -v. V.
E. Okay.
Yeah, like version. Okay, so you have the origin is from your repo and the upstream is from our repo. And so the reason why it's saying up to date is because it is up to date with the repo that you have. So let's see. Do run git remote add upstream. Actually, we already have as an upstream. So do do git fetch upstream real quick. All right, and then so main.js, yeah, it still looks exactly the same. You want to make sure you're on the branch you want to update. For example, if you're updating your main or master branch. So you are on the volunteer search branch, right? Yes. Mm-hmm. So you want to merge the changes from the original repository. So do you good over there, James?
I'm sorry.
No.
Let me mute myself.
So you want to merge the changes from the original repository. So merge the changes into your local branch. So if you're updating the main branch, so do here, I'm going to post something in the chat. So do git merge upstream volunteer search. Try this out. This should bring the changes from the original repositories, not main branch, volunteer search branch, to your local. And then you want to push the changes to your fork. All right, cool. Yeah, so try that, git merge, upstream, volunteer branch. And then...
I just posted it, said it already up to date. You see it?
Yeah, I see it. Let's see. I'm thinking, because we're kind of like, what we're kind of doing is we're like manually trying to fix a fork that was forked incorrectly. not that it was forked incorrectly, but it wasn't forked with all the branches. So I kind of want to figure out what the root problem was, because when you fork this project, all the branches from the forked project should show up in your repo. So that's the core problem. And if all the branches are not showing up in your forked project from the original project, then it's going to be like that for everybody. And so
I was gonna say, okay.
yeah, so the correct move would definitely be fixing that, because if everyone has to work through it like this, it's going to be just crazy.
Have any of the other people in the other breakout rooms had an issue?
Let me see.
I wonder, it's not like a Windows versus Mac thing, is it?
No, I think Parker's working directly with the project. Yeah, because he's been added as a contributor to the project, so he could work directly with the original repo. So I believe he's working with the. But I do want to move away from adding people as contributors to this project, and I'm gonna record some videos on showing people basically what I showed you tonight, Warren, like how to fork it from the GitHub repo to your own repo, so that you could work with it there. And then when you modify changes, then you can make a pull request from your repo to the original one. Because that's the way that you're going to be doing it with any open source project that you work on for the most part. Like that's the like typical way that they have them set up. So I want to do it in the way that's going to be the best for everybody.
Yeah, man, I really want to understand how to use Git. I watched a couple videos here and there, but they were doing some things and I couldn't follow along completely, and I think it got to the branch. I couldn't find where in my my files and stuff was saved, and this one time I just kind of happened to just go through some stuff and I found the project.
Yeah, Git could be a little confusing at first. There's actually this really good tutorial I did a
Is it
long.
Free Code Camp?
No, it's this woman. Let me see if I can find it. I think it's Build Your Own X GitHub repo, and it was Git, I believe. Let's see. Gitlet. Yes, this is it right here. Yes, here it is. This is amazing. Mary Rose Cook. She is amazing. I'm gonna post in the chat.
Does she do best practices too?
No, she's using JavaScript to write Git from scratch.
Wow.
Yeah. So once you do this, like you work from the top to the bottom and you just kind of like read. So on the left side, let me share my screen and just show you. Feel free to take a look at my screen really quickly. So this is what I just posted. You just read the left as you go along. So imagine you have a directory called alpha. It contains a file called number.txt that contains the text first. And so she explains it in a really, really simple way. And then as you continue reading, read, you eventually get here. So you have a JavaScript file and you start creating code. So you create your little gitlet object and you start with the init. So like when you create a new GitHub project or a new Git project, you do git init. And so she's recreating that init function. And then you got the add function, the remove function, the commit function. So she's literally building Git from scratch so you could see how it's working internally. And if you could understand this, you're never going to have any problems with Git ever again. And you're also going to have a better understanding of just JavaScript in general. So it'll take you a while to work through it and really understand it, but this is one of those resources that if you do work through it and understand it, it builds your skills in so many different areas that it's worth the time.
Okay.
So I want to go ahead.
I know we're pulling late on time. Were you going to switch over to your secondary stuff?
Yeah, so I had a time limit of, we definitely want to finish this by 8. Like by 8 o'clock, we're going to be switching to the MVC. But let me pop over and see how they're doing really quickly. And then I'm going to pop back over because if we could, I want to make sure that at least you're set up. So next time we're good to go, Give me just 1 minute. Hey, how's it going over here?
We got the paragraph styled. We're working on the button right now, and we're almost done with the button.
Okay, cool. So you did 2 issues.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
noticed that Parker had his own issue and I had mine. We are working on Parker's one.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Cool. Sounds good. I'm helping Warren get set up. So basically, I know you guys are working directly with the GitHub project, the original repo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the way we're going to be doing it moving forward, instead of adding people to the GitHub project directly as a contributor, is I'm going to record like a little video series of teaching people how to contribute to the project without me having to add them. So like forking it from the original repo to their own GitHub, and then working with it in their own repo, and then making a pull request from their GitHub to the original one, just like the way that most open source is. And so we're just having some issues because the way that I set up the project right now is when he forked the project, he's not getting all the branches. So there's something in the settings that I'm trying to figure out. But we're just working on getting that set up just so like no one has any issues with it moving forward. And then, yeah, whenever you guys are ready to share your code solutions, we could transition to the second phase of the meeting. Just let me know, all right?
Hold on, but for now, are we good at just branching and pushing the branch
Yeah.
on the same repo?
Yeah,
Okay,
you
cool.
guys are cool as long as you're creating a new branch.
Yep, we do.
Yep,
Thank you.
yep. That's cool, yep.
Because I see you guys have like now 2 groups, like breakout
Alright.
1, breakout
They're good.
3.
They're actually
Yeah,
finishing
Jim,
up.
do you want to give him like a rundown of
What's up?
what we're doing?
Yeah, Jim, this is Fisher. I've been having like trouble with my account and my lap, so I just want to know where we are.
Yeah, so basically what we're doing is before every session, I'm going to create a ton of issues, and we're going to just be working through the issues as teams. And I'm going to just give as much information as I possibly can to make sure that everybody understands how to work through the issues. And then it's going to be small teams. So like right now, breakout room number 3, we got Parker, Javier, and Ricky. They're just finishing up their second issue right now, and they're making pull requests directly to the project. In this group right here, where I was trying to show him how to, or I was trying to show everybody how to set up a GitHub project in your own GitHub by forking the project. The problem is there's something with the way that I set up the project. So somewhere in the settings that's not pulling all the branches. So I have to figure that out. But they're going to be done in just a couple minutes. They said that they're going to pop in when they're done. So let me try to figure out this, what's going on with the branches, and then we're going to transition to the second phase. Yeah, so feel free to also do a couple searches if you'd like, and we'll figure this out, because I want to make sure at bare minimum that everyone's able to fork the project and fork the project with all of the branches.
Okay. All right.
Did that answer your question?
Oh, so basically, like since the last, I don't know if you read my messages since like Monday. Somehow, like in the middle of like last Monday, I mean last session, like I couldn't hear, and my microphone was deafened, so that's why I kept sending you messages.
Mm.
And so like, so I don't know what happened, and I thought I had to like subscribe or something like that.
Yeah, is it working now though?
Yeah, so I went ahead to do the Patreon stuff. I had the like before I had like the payment through like through here.
Oh yeah. I'm getting rid of Discord entirely just because it's been troublesome. Patreon's way better. So yeah, we're just sticking with Patreon from now on. But it sounds like it's working now. You could talk at least in this breakout room. Are you able to talk in the front end web development channel?
Basically when I just got done with like setting everything up, so I don't know. I see there's if I click on it, it looks like hold on. It looks like I can comment on it, so probably that's
All right.
I mean I can talk, right?
All right. Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
All
All
right.
right, cool. Yeah, so we're kind of just doing a little troubleshooting in here. that way for sessions moving forward, there's less issues. But basically what I'm doing is I'm just trying to figure out how, if I set up the GitHub project and it's already public, and it's already public, how can I make sure anyone who forks the project has access to all of the branches?
Okay.
From
Let me
the-
go ahead and log in my. Let me see if I can do that.
Yeah. Git push. Make sure all desired branches are pushed to GitHub. Yes, they are. Keep your repository public. Yes, it is. Inform forkers about branches. Yes, they know. Update forks regularly. Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't have to do this in a session with everybody too. I could just figure it out. I don't want to drag you all down with like administrative stuff. But let me see. Volunteer search branch. Require a pull request before merging. Requires approvals. Branches. So all the branches are protected by branch protections. There's only 2 branches. Yeah, I'll spend some time. I'll figure it out. I don't want y'all to have to sit through it. Yeah, so basically we'll go ahead and let's go ahead and, because I don't think anyone in this group has direct access to the GitHub repo. Maybe Liz does. But we could go ahead. Let's hop into breakout 3 and just see.
It looks like I've been able to fork it.
You forked it?
Yeah.
And do you have the volunteer search branch in your fork?
Hold on. I just forked the link you shared. This link here.
Can you share your screen?
Navigator.
Yeah, can you share your screen real quick so we can see?
Okay, let me see. How do you share your screen?
Bottom left.
Okay.
There you go.
This is it, right?
Yes, there you go. So no, you only have 1 branch. Yeah, so it's something. So you're able to fork it, but you're not getting all the branches. So that's the problem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but now that you branched it, I'm pretty sure you could just, or now that you forked it, I'm pretty sure you could just like sync fork. You see that sync fork button right there? Yeah, you'll be able
Where's that
on the top right. You'll be able to just click sync fork and it'll sync with the original repo. I just have to change a setting that allows everyone to pull all the branches. So I'll figure that out on my own time. Okay. I know that when I originally created this repo that I set it as private and then I converted it to public. So I'm wondering if it has something to do with that or if it's just one of the branch rules, because I did set up very strict branch rules so people couldn't make pull requests directly to the branches too. So it's definitely one of those 2 things, but it's going to take a little trial and error, probably like 20 or 30 minutes, and I don't want to waste class time. So let's hop out into breakout room 3. We'll see what they're doing, and then we're going to hop into the MVC, the architecture portion of the thing. Let's just see how they're doing first. All right, let's see how it's coming.
So far, it's coming along. Javier's almost done.
Cool, cool. Oh, yeah. Nice. And Parker, so yours is done, correct?
Yeah.
And you made a pull request?
Oh, no, it's the second task of the same issue.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're still working on mine. We're almost done with it.
Okay, cool. So you guys are doing 2 tasks on one branch, basically?
I guess, but we haven't really touched Ricky's at all.
All right, no sweat. Cool, cool. We'll go ahead and we'll, once you finish up this one, we'll go ahead and we'll transition into the MVC side of the training for the night.
Okay, we're pretty much done.
Yep.
Another minute.
Yeah, cool, cool.
So I think, let me see what Javier said. So Javier, I think you're good. Looks good. But before we hit save and check it out, there might be an issue with your CSS reference.
What is it?
He may be able to find out, but if he doesn't, I can give you a hint.
Well, let's see. Now I think he's trying to change the. Let's go ahead and change the color. What's the color code from Figma? Because that button is supposed to be pinkish.
I put it right below. There we go. You got it.
And now the
Nice.
problem, if we save and we check the result, Parker, can you switch? Yeah, there you go. So it's still the new styles are still not applied. Now, why is that? We need to understand why it's not working.
Yep. So you did all the styling right, but there's a reason why the styling is not getting applied right now. So if you want a hint, I think that's what you want. It's how you're referencing that button.
Referencing the button?
Yeah, it's the reference he's using in the CSS file that may not be that. I don't want to give him the answer, so it's like I'm trying to lead him in that direction.
Yeah. So how are you targeting that element? What does the HTML look like for that button?
Well, that's where I'm getting at is so Javier, he made the class right here, and then it's up to him to then use that class to reference it in the CSS file.
So what's the name of the class and what's the name of the selector you're using for the styling? And do they match?
So Javier, he can't speak, so he's only typing in Discord chat. So the class he wrote is volunteer detail underscore read more. And then in the CSS file, oh, he changed it now. He had actually a different reference. So now we need to update that. Volunteer detail read more. And then I'm still gonna change this right here, the home, and change it to detail.
Volunteer detail read more. Volunteer detail read more. Is it 1 underscore or 2 underscores?
1 underscore. They are currently mismatching, but we don't know which syntax we
There.
adopt.
There, it worked. And it's hard to tell, but it's getting used.
Yes.
They actually changed the font size, changed like something ridiculous, like 30 pixels.
Yep. There you go. Yeah.
There you go. but really the size is what the Figma says. So if you go to the properties, the font is 16. So let's go back there. All right, that's it. We did exactly what the Figma says. Looks good. But it's not identical though, so it's a little different because it doesn't have this border and all this stuff. That's just like the default that it does. So we need to get rid of that.
Yep. There we go.
All right, good.
Cool. Yeah, that looks good. Looks much more
So now-
like the Figma now.
Yeah.
Although I feel like the Figma's a little pinker, like a little darker. But, I mean, we won't pull teeth.
Yeah, so I think I'm ready to do a push.
Okay, perfect.
Be careful because I don't think we are on the right branch though. I think we have not branched off yet.
No, I don't think we have. So, actually, can you walk me through those steps again? Because it's been a few weeks,
If you
couple
can
weeks.
open any terminal or even the VS Code terminal, because I can't. Yeah, there you go. Now, fantastic. Oh, Odin project. Okay, cool. Now let's go with git status as usual, and we see, okay, we modified 2 files. Now here we want to create our own branch, and we know that our task was it number 32. So the syntax to branch off from here is git space checkout space -b, because we are creating a new branch, space the name of the branch we want to use, which is 32. Yeah, that's it.
That's it?
Yeah. And now that it does say that we switch on our own, and we still have those 2 files unstaged. Now we want to attach these 2 files to our branch, staging them.
So git add dot.
Yeah. Now they are green, and now we want to commit them. Cool. Yeah. Awesome.
Boom. Nice.
All right, so on branch 32. So now, how can I see it on my end that I
If you go
in
to
GitHub?
Yeah. You refresh this page. I'm not sure if it sees it already.
Yep.
Ah, there we go. 32 as recent pushes. All right. And there we go. There's the new branch I just made. There's just 2, main and volunteer, but now 32. And then once Jim then compares the 2, he'll merge 32 to the volunteer search. Then I can later on delete 32.
Yes. So you could go ahead and do this. Create a pull request for 32. So do compare and pull request. See where it says 32 at recent. Go ahead. Yep. And then so you don't want to request to merge 32 into the main branch, because we're not merging anything into the main branch until we finish our volunteer search branch feature. So you want to merge 32 into our volunteer search. There you go. Add some comments or whatever you'd like to add there, and then go ahead and do create pull request. Perfect.
Okay.
And I wonder if you can merge it since you're a contributor on this project or not. No, merging can be fun.
This wants to merge. Let's see.
Yep. So I'll go ahead and
Let's see
share
if I review and I approve it. Maybe he can later on.
Can you approve it, Ricky?
Trying to. Give me 1 second.
Can you share your screen? Can we see the walkthrough? Just so everyone can see. I was gonna do the merge, but I'm curious if you guys can do
Ricky,
it.
you can take over.
Yeah, it doesn't look like you could do it. There's one full request.
Am I sharing my screen?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, we see it.
If I go to pull request, this is the one that I see. So I assign myself as a reviewer.
Yeah, so you could review it, but you can't actually merge it. All right, so that's just settings I have set up. If you are interested in doing merge approvals and that sort of thing, I could definitely give you access for that.
Yeah,
but
okay.
I'll go ahead and share my screen just so everyone can see what it looks like here. So, did I share? Yes, I'm sharing. So we do have one pull request here, style paragraph, and add read more button. New changes required approval from someone other than the last pusher, which you requested for review. Merging can be performed automatically with one approving reviewer. So you are the reviewer, but I'll go ahead and merge it personally, and then should be good to go. I'm going to delete the branch here. You could go ahead and delete the branch on your local repository because we're never going to have 32 again. It's only going to increase. And then, yeah, let's come over to the volunteer search and check out the styles.css. And if you, I believe it's, yes, right here. So the only thing that I would have commented, I'm not sweating it, but I would have commented, just put this in the correct position. Footer is always going to be at the bottom. So if the footer's at the bottom, I would like to have the footer code at the bottom. Navigation is always going to be at the top. Core stuff is always going to be at the top. Navigation is, you know, like top of the content. So I would keep navigation at top and then try to keep things in the correct order based on either like their life cycle flow when they show up in the project or where they show up on the page. But yeah, besides that, it's pretty good.
I was actually not even paying attention to the organization, so actually I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yeah, but besides that, it's good. It looks good. So, all right, we're gonna move on to the second part of the session. We have that going. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna make some modifications to the JavaScript, and then I'm gonna challenge you guys to break out again. This time, I'm not going to say break out into two different groups unless we have... Actually, I guess Parker and Ricky are both contributors on the project. So you two, and then I think Javier, and I don't know who else is, but you guys can definitely lead a group right now. So this is going to be a little more challenging, but I think you guys definitely will get the hang of it. So I'm just going to pull open the code. Let me make sure I am on. All right, so I don't want to be on 32 paragraph. I'm going to do git checkout just to go back to volunteer search. So I'm on the volunteer search branch right now. What I want to do is I want to create a branch called get checkout dash B to create a new branch. And I'm going to call this one, let's just go to the GitHub repo and see what it's officially called. So if I go to issues, convert, actually I didn't create one for this one, but that's okay. I'm just gonna say home to MVC. All right. And then I have my code editor. So basically what I'm going to do here is what we want to do is we want to start picking this project apart. And so there's some major problems as far as just the code that we're building here. So like, does anyone see any problem with this render home function? Does anyone see any problems with this render home function as far as separation of concerns? And if you don't know what separation of concerns is, feel free to do a quick little Google search if you would like. I'll pull it up here too. But basically, like, you want to keep the markup separate from the JavaScript. You want to keep the business logic separate from the model and the data. You want to just keep like the responsibilities of the code separate from code that has other responsibilities, essentially. This is saying in computer science, separation of concerns is a design principle for separating a computer program into distinct sections. Each section addresses a separate concern, a set of information that affects the code of a computer program. So I'll ask one more time. Does anyone see any problems? What's up?
Are we doing too much? Like all these different things, like the div, the paragraph, and the header and button, or should that be separated, or I don't know.
Yeah, you're on the right path. So we have markup in here, but we also have business logic in here and event listeners in here. So we're mixing our event listeners with what's being rendered to the screen. And so we want to break this markup into a directory called views, because these are our views. Basically what you can view, the UI that's being rendered to the screen. And then we want to take the business logic and the event listeners, and we want these to be executed by the controller. And so what I'm going to do is main.js is going to be our controller. And so this is what we're going to do with this particular render home. So what we want to do is we want to extract markup from render home and create a function that only renders HTML. This is going to be stored in a views directory under home view.js. And actually, it's not going to be a class. We're going to start with functions because I want you guys to see multiple different ways of doing MVC. And actually, when it comes to MVC, typically if it's a smaller project like this, or like it's small right now, so we're only working on one feature, you can set up your controller with just functions. But eventually as it grows and you have more complex state and just more complexity in the application, it's better to switch over to classes. So everyone will have an opportunity to see both. I personally like functions. It reminds me more of React, and yeah, at least the newer React. So extract markup. So we're going to extract this markup out of this render home function, and we're just going to call that function like, I don't know, render home markup or something like that. Then we want to import that function and use it inside our controller. So we'll go ahead and start doing this just piece by piece. And if anyone has any questions, feel free. But basically, I'm going to do it with the home. And then I'm going to have y'all do it with the render volunteer list and the render volunteer details. So we're currently render home. And so what I want to do is I want to extract this markup out of it. And I'm just going to leave a little to do here because we do need our markup. And I'm going to create a directory called views. This is where we're going to store all of our views. And I'm going to create a file just called homeview.js. And so we want to export this, but I'm actually going to, let's just say, render home markup. And I'm just going to create a function with it. So instead of creating the variable, we'll be able to just return this markup from this function. And now, if we ever want to change the markup, change the view at all, the view is going to be entirely isolated. So we could do that without ever affecting any of the business logic. Or if it comes to the point where like rendering the view is going to require passing in a variable, it's just separated from any of the business logic. So you come over here, you can see there's nothing that has to do with the view inside our controller now. And so we're just going to return this string. I still want to format it so it looks good. And yeah, so we have our render home makeup. We'll export that. And yeah, so we're exporting that function. That looks good. And then, since we're going to want to use it in here, so basically I extracted the markup from render home, created a function that only renders HTML, stored in the views directory as home.js. So that one's done. Then we actually want to access this function. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to import render home markup from views.home. Boom. Now we have access to that function there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the markup here. And I'm going to use it by just executing that function. So we're targeting our main element. We have our function called render home. The render home function targets our home element. It creates the markup that's required, which now if we ever need to work on is in a file of its own. We inject that markup into the inner HTML of our root element, and then we add our event listeners to the volunteer home button, which now exists in the inner HTML of our root. So that should be good right there. And so let's just say target root element. Store markup in a variable. Insert our home page into our main container. Let's just say our home markup into our root, and then add event listeners to, I guess we only have one button on our home, right? So that's pretty clear. Add event listeners to our volunteer home button. When you click it, it renders our volunteer list. And so yes, now we have this function here. This is good. And where does this actually execute? This executes in several places. So one of them is here. upon load. Once the website loads, the home is rendered. And then also on the navigation button when you click the home button. So if I pull open Nonprofit Navigator, it's still running the same one. It's on the live server. And yes, our home is rendering the way that it's supposed to be rendering. Cool. So it's simple. If you've done it before, basically what we're doing here is we want only business logic in this. We want to pull all of this yucky HTML out of our JavaScript file, out of our core controller JavaScript file. So eventually this will just be render home, render volunteer list without all of this markup, also without this markup, without this markup. I believe we're not even using this function anymore, so we could probably just cut. Actually, yeah, we are. Actually, we could cut this into a different file too, just for like search functionality. It really has nothing to do with the controller. It's more of a, I wouldn't say utility function, but a function concerned with other functionality outside of core business. And then, yeah, and then cut all this HTML out as well and be left just with pure JavaScript business logic. So before we do that though, you can see how this just looks a lot cleaner too without the HTML. This whole file is going to look a lot cleaner without any of the markup. And then if we want to access any of our markup, it's just going to be in their own standalone functions. So the second ones are actually a little more challenging, because you're going to run into challenges like, okay, we're iterating over our volunteer list, so how do we access our volunteer list if we're storing this in another file? Also, where do we put render card? Do we put it in the same file that we put render volunteer list markup? Do we put it in a different file and import it? What about get skills? Do we keep that in the same one? How do we know if we want to put this in the same one? Are there is there a thought process behind it? I'm going to let you guys just do what you think is best. If you want to put get skills in the same file, go ahead. If you want to put it in a different file, go ahead. Try to think through it, like why are you doing it? And then I'll go ahead and explain it after you do it as well. And then, yeah, render card. Are you going to put it in the same file as render volunteer list markup, or are you going to put it separate and import it? And then same thing here. We're actually passing in this HTML. So like this render card HTML requires a volunteer object. So you're going to have to keep that in mind as you create the render card function in another file. Same with this too. As you extract out this markup and create a unique function to render this markup, you also need access to the volunteer object. So how are you going to get that volunteer object with that function? So a couple things to think of. What questions do you have?
Let's see. How to start? That's always the hardest part.
So how to start? So I think it'd be best if we broke out, if we have a one breakout room with Parker, one breakout room with Ricky, and
Okay.
I would say this. I'd say this. Let me go ahead and in the views, I'm gonna go ahead and create you a volunteer list view .js and a volunteer details view .js. Actually, you know what? Volunteer is pretty straightforward now, so we'll just say details view and list view. It just makes much more sense to me right now. And then if we did have to, like if we have other views in the application as the application grows that are also like lists or detail page kind of things, then we could go ahead and inside our views, we could say like volunteer search. So anything related to the volunteer search could just go in there. We won't do that right now, just so we're not like over prematurely optimizing, but yeah. So we have our details view, we have our list view, and the only thing you want to add into these files is a function that renders the markup. That's it. So what you're going to do is you're going to come over to main.js and you're going to ask yourself, as you look at this render volunteer list function here, actually it's bigger than that. It's this. What is the business logic and what is the markup? The markup you want to cut out of this function and you want to put it in a different file. And you want to put it in a different file just inside of a function that executes and returns this markup, basically. And yeah, so one of you will work on render volunteer list, which actually has many pieces. It has render volunteer list. It has, here, let's put this in order. It has get skills. And it has render card. So there's 3 pieces here. And then the other team will work on render volunteer details. And that's just one function that you're working with. So this one's bigger and more challenging in the sense that you're gonna have to pass a volunteer object into this function. This one is smaller, but more difficult and challenging because of the complexity. Like there's multiple pieces already abstracted out of it. So yeah, both of them will be challenging in different ways. And yeah, so what I'm gonna do right now is if I do a git status, I made a couple of changes to the code. And so I'm gonna expect you all to do a git pull before you start working on this, because I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just going to, I believe I'm on the correct branch. Yes, home to. All right, so I'm going to add, I'm going to commit, and I'm just going to say home view to MVC, and we'll do a git push. Home to MVC. Oh. View. Boom. I'm going to go ahead and merge it really quickly so you guys have access to my code. Home to MVC. Push that into volunteer search. And so when y'all pull from volunteer search, you'll have this updated code. This branch has conflicts that must be resolved. Let's see what we got here. List. All right, so I want to cut all that out. Yeah, so this is the data that we already extracted out of this file. For some reason, it's back in there, so we will cut that out, and then add event listeners. All right. All right, that looks good. Home to MVC, volunteer search. I did move that. Where is the render card? All right, so I'm going to cut this out entirely because I put it down there. All right, that should be good. Bookmark is resolved. Commit merge. And yeah, all right. So you guys will be able to, you guys and gals will be able to pull the updated code now. And don't worry about that. I didn't go into like super detail on the merge conflicts. Like it's not too important right now. You're all gonna encounter the merge conflicts, but don't sweat it right now. We'll just focus on the MVC because we have about 50 minutes. I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to do some coding on this. Cool, cool. All right, so I guess it's time to break out teams. So we got. I'm thinking Ricky and Parker could go ahead and just.
Okay.
And then. Yeah, let's say we got James, Fisher. So let's do Ricky, Liz, and James. And then Parker, Javier, and Fisher. That seems pretty cool. And then yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, like Parker, you know, you're like, where do I start? You know, I'll give you just a little bit of information you need to just get started, get that momentum going. And if you have any other questions, just let me know, and I'll do my best to give you what you need without like doing it for you, kind of thing. You know?
Yeah. Don't give me the answer.
yeah. And I'll just pop back and forth between both groups, just making sure y'all are making some progress.
Okay. Now, which one are we picking as far as myself and Ricky?
Well, which one do you want, Ricky? We'll let Ricky take the pick, and then Parker, you'll take the other one.
I'm happy to take the one that comes with the 2 functions, so that would be the list.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So Ricky and his team will do the list. Parker, you do the details page, and yeah. So Parker and his team just hop into breakout 2, and feel free to start working through it. I'm just gonna bounce back and forth. Cool.
Cool. Is it okay if I share my screen, guys?
Yes, let me stop. There you go.
Then increase. So this is where I have my repository. I think I don't have the latest code that Jim just pushed, so I'm gonna pull it. Sorry, I had my own experiments from a while ago. Let me do it again. Cool. I can see that I have the latest code change from Jim because I can see that we have the view folder with some files inside. So this must be the very latest version. I am going to share, live share. I don't know what I've done. Let me try again. I messed up, I think. Hold on. I want to share the link, but not just with read-only.
I think by default when they sign in, I'm pretty sure it has the option you could give them read and write or just read.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
So I shared in this chat the link. Let's see if I can see any participant. And Jim, one thing that I'm not sure how to is to start the, how do I say this, the little web server locally that refreshes on its own, and I can share the link. Is it something from here? Share servers?
Do you have live server installed as an extension? Yeah, right there, live server. There you go.
The first one, this one?
Yes, yep. Yeah, install that and then you should be good to go. Enter the TCP port or server URL to share with your guests. That's live share. So live server activation. All right, so on the bottom right, you see where it says go live? On the bottom right?
This one? Show details?
Just underneath that, go live. There you go. And then the server should start automatically.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah,
there you go.
Gotcha.
Yep. And now it'll update automatically too.
Thank you.
Yep.
So let me see.
And then if you want to give them access to that server so they could pull it up in on their browsers, click share server. Yeah, right there. And then whatever server the live server is on, so port 5500 is the one you want to. Yep. There you go.
All right.
Should be good.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
I can't tell if anyone has joined. I thought a moment ago I saw Liz join, but now I can't see her anymore.
Same.
Liz, thumbs up, thumbs down.
She can't talk or chat in this breakout room. So sorry, I just set these up like, oh, hold on, give me a minute. Permission stuff. Connect, speak, video. All right, Liz, you should be good to go. Does it work now, Liz? You might have to leave and come back in because I just added the permission, so. But yeah, it should work now.
Yeah, let's see. I see that she left. Is it better now, Liz?
Yes.
Hello.
There you go.
Nice. It
Perfect.
worked. It worked.
This for me. Thank you.
Sorry. That was my fault.
Okay, I can type now in the chat too.
Cool.
All right. Let me try and join this link.
I'll be back in a second as well because otherwise I have to push the button. Let me hop off and on again. 1 second only.
Cool.
Host share live terminal. Are we supposed to have write permissions in here too?
Yes. In the code editor, you're saying?
Okay.
Can you hear me this way?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic! Awesome. All right. Yes, I can see Liz. Who else was supposed to join us? What's
James? Maybe he's having the same issues that I was.
James.
Oh. James, do you want to try popping off and on again?
Or just go to a different breakout room and then come back to this one.
Yeah.
That's one option.
Yeah, if you can't talk, James, hop off and hop back on because I just changed the permissions and you should be good to go. I'm just gonna double check with them and make sure they're good to go.
It's this one.
Hey.
On line 110. So all of this is what we have to divvy out. Let's see. Between page and core.
159.
Yeah, so 110 to 159. So let's see. I guess first we need to understand everything that's going on here. Is this just one big function? Oh my god, yeah. Okay, so that's why.
I think so.
Oh wow, so yeah, that's why we're doing this, because that's a big function.
So I'd say if you're like, what is the business logic and what is the view? You could literally go down it line by line, and at the end, like line 111. Is that business logic or is that the view?
I don't know.
Business logic.
Is it HTML?
No.
All right, so it's controller then. It's business logic. So go ahead at the end of line 111, just add // and just say controller or business logic. There you go. Just not in the beginning because then you're going to comment out the whole thing. Yeah, just at the end.
Okay, so first thing we need is go every line, identify what's the business logic or controller, and the rest.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that line is still commented out though, so remove the 2 / in the there you go. Yeah, so just go down line by line, and then I mean, look, it's either HTML or view or it's controller. So it's either HTML or controller. If it's not HTML, it's controller.
Okay.
Basically.
Exactly. Okay. Controller JavaScript, you mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So for example, like on line 117, let markup equals all of this. This is all HTML.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So then this is where we're taking like this one big pie, and they're getting different pieces. And we'll just call it either A, controller, or B, HTML. And then what we want to do is, I think we're leaving, we're only putting controller logic into the details view.js file, I think.
We're only putting what in that file?
We're only putting, like, we're leaving the HTML here in the main.js, but we're putting in the controller logic into the details view JavaScript file.
No. Well, check out home view. What are we putting in the views? Because I already did home view, right? Check that one out.
Oh, you're making a new function. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
A function that returns what?
Some HTML?
Yes, exactly. So our views are HTML basically.
Okay.
So you're going to be extracting the HTML out of the render volunteer details function that we have here.
Oh, so I had it backwards. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to move the let markup equals line 117. All of this. Oh, how much we're moving? A lot.
Decent.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. That's the question: is how much? So, all the way until 156.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna move. I think. So I guess we can just copy paste this then, from 117 until 156 into the details view.
Yes.
But what we need to do is I'm making a new function in details view. Export const render home markup. So mine's gonna be like. I guess we're making a function.
Yes, sir.
And then do I take that new function and then put it in this existing function?
Yes. Exactly.
Okay.
You got it. Nice. Oh, this file is gonna look so clean. I've been waiting for this for so long. Perfect.
So I need to wrap this in a function. So let's see. What's the easy way to wrap something? It's like you can select it all and then like.
You could always refer. You could always refer to the home view.js.
Okay. Export const, then whatever name I want. Render home markup. So render details markup.
Cool. And if you check out home view, you could see like the way that we extracted this HTML from the other file, we're storing it in a variable, right? But if you look at my home view, we're actually not even creating a variable. We're just returning a string. So we get rid of the variable entirely.
Okay.
Yep. Let me know if you have any questions.
Import.
How we doing?
From data. Data.js. But then what's the name? It's volunteer list. Okay. So now this one knows what it is because we imported it.
Make sure you put the .js after the data.
I thought I did, and then cool.
Sometimes VS Code will do weird things.
Now what else? Now we said okay, so this one is now the element that we need, the object that we need is resolved, as in it is visible. What we are missing is this render card, because as for now we only copied a bit of the original function.
Okay. So is the other team breaking out the render card function?
I don't
into
think,
its own thing?
I don't think they have a render card. I think their task is a bit simpler. Let me see, because they have render volunteer details.
Mm-hmm.
They don't rely on anything else. It's simpler.
Yes.
But for us, we also need a render card and get skills.
Yep.
Now let's say render card. I don't know. It could be another its own view. But God, am I overthinking this?
It could be. So no, there's I mean, the way I think through something like this is, are more than one view using render card?
As of now, no. I think it's just one.
Yeah. So
Okay,
as
so
long
there's
as it's
no-
only one using it, I would put it with the one that's using it. But once it comes to the point where multiple views are using it, then I would separate it into its own, probably like
fantastic.
like a utility views or something like that, you know.
Yeah. Liz, do you want to go
So-
ahead and cut it and copy the other in the same file?
Yeah, I was just confirming that that's all that's needed. We just have to.
Yeah. My understanding.
Are we gonna cut get skills along with it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, because we know that it's also used. Yeah.
Does anything else use get skills? No.
Nope.
How was it structured? Was it just immediately after this in the other page?
Yes, but they were separate functions.
Just kidding. Hold on.
Yeah, separate.
Wait, what happens if I hit undo? Didn't I just hit undo?
Try again.
Okay. I was like, hold on.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So this one relies on render card. Render card is here. It's available. Render card relies on get skilled, and this one is also here. And we don't need anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I believe that now this file, list views, needs to be visible, needs to be used by main.js.
Mm-hmm.
Because we
Okay.
cut out a bit of code. Well, we know that
Yep.
we should rely on the render volunteer list. You know, from here, this is where we cut out everything, right? On line 26.
Yes.
Originally, we had
So
this
we'd want to.
field. Yeah, and now yeah, we want to.
Also, it's grayed out because we haven't used it in a code yet, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
So,
see they use it on line 13. Let markup equals render home markup. So then
so
we
we're
need
gonna go
to.
back. I think so. I'm not following these so much, but I think we're gonna go down to what line we changed, like 110, one something, and then reference to this where we had all the code, all the HTML code.
Yeah, all right here.
Mhm.
Yeah, 111. Yeah.
So we're gonna finally reference that. So I would.
Yeah, we're almost there. Like, this is like the last step you got to do.
Yeah. Right now, if you look at that, go back down. Right now, if you look at line 119, you're injecting markup into the inner HTML, but where are you getting the markup from? Where's the markup coming from? That's the problem you need to solve.
From line 13.
No, because that's
No, never mind.
that's the function, that's the controller that renders the home. You're building the controller that renders the details page. And so you actually have to create your own markup in this function somewhere, but where?
Okay, so do I?
No?
Oh, right above it. Let markup equals render home details.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's not grayed out anymore. Nice.
Render
it
details
worked.
markup. Nice, nice. Go down. Go. Are you running the code?
Live share?
Live server. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. Looks weird.
It's not working.
Nope. It looks like you have an error in one of your files.
So let's yeah, details view.
So do right click on the browser and click inspect. And go to console. Details view line 5.
Might be just like a syntax error. Let's see. Image class. It's because the vol.image.description doesn't.
Yeah, so I noticed one thing. If you go up a little bit, you're still creating the variable. So go up a little bit, line 3. Yeah, you're returning the markup, but for some reason, after you do return template, you're still doing let markup equals.
Yeah, we gotta delete line 3.
Yeah, entirely. Did it go away? Refresh.
So hold on.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just. Yeah, click on.
That's it?
Click on one of the cards, because you're actually doing the details.
Nothing.
Nothing's happening? Alright, so something's not working then.
Okay, I'm referencing yours. Return, backtick, HTML.
You're exporting cons, details, markup, return. Yeah, this looks good. This looks good. I would just format it a little bit better so the divs actually come a little further past the return, but that's not the problem right now. So you could go to main.js and go down to your function. So all right, so what are we doing here? There's a problem, right? So one thing I noticed right away is line 115. Do you notice what I noticed?
No, I don't.
There's a variable that's not being used.
Oh, the vol. Okay.
So where are you using that?
Okay, here it's all right here. Vol.
Throughout the whole template. So you literally need
Yeah.
the object inside of the function, right?
Yeah.
So how do you get that object inside of the function?
I do not know.
So are we gonna use it in the render details markup? Are we gonna pass it in as an argument inside the render details markup?
Exactly.
Line 119.
Perfect. Now go back to your function though. Go to the details view function. And yeah, so this is your function definition, but you haven't defined a parameter. So in the main, there you go. There you go.
Oh, all right.
Nice. So yeah, I would just format this, make it look a little bit cleaner, because the HTML looks like it's just like uneven. But besides that, it's working. It looks good. And I would say add some comments to the controller function that you built, just so it's like super clear exactly what everything's doing, and then yeah, you're good to go. We'll make a pull request.
Okay.
From the controller. Oh, there he is. Hey Jim, we have.
Hey.
I think we are done with the task.
Okay.
But we have I have a question.
Yes.
So this whole idea of separating the controller from the view, from the data. We imported the data from inside the view, and now I'm thinking, were we supposed maybe to import the data from the controller and then passing the data to the view through a parameter?
That's a really, really good question. So with the model view controller architecture, you do not ever want the data communicating directly with the views. The controller is responsible for getting data and passing it to the view. So yes, you don't want to import it directly into the view. You want to find a way to allow the controller to pass that data to the view.
Okay. So this is, you remember, Liz, this is something we discussed at the very beginning. So let's say, for the sake of, if we were to remove this one, let's just comment it out. Of course, nothing would work now because this function does not know what volunteer list is. So Jim is saying it should be responsibility of the controller to pass it, to provide it. And we know that the controller is already importing our data from the very first line number 1. So what if we pass this data? What do you think if we pass this data to the function? Sorry, this one. And then obviously if we are passing something to this function, wherever we implement this, which is this one, we need something here. But does it make sense, Liz? James? So what do you, I just added, I simply said, hey, whatever we imported here, I'm passing it to this function, and then this function receives it. And now if I go,
And it's still working.
Yeah, looks like it. And then, okay, now I'm confident I can remove this one. And then, Jim, we had another question, if you have time for us.
Of course.
When we imported in our controller this render list markup, of course, we imported it with the import keyword, and as a consequence, we had to mark this function with an export keyword. But now we were wondering, are we safe into assuming that all the other dependent functions, they don't need to be exported?
Yes. So so since those other functions, the render card and the get skills, are not being called anywhere else, the only place that they're being called is in this file. They never have to, they never get exported from this file.
Awesome.
You only export them if they're actually being called outside this file. Yep.
All right, cool then. I think we are good with this stuff.
Cool. And it's fully functional, it's working and everything?
Yeah. So this is the list, and the what is it called? The event also works because we can click it. I mean, by event I mean, what do I mean? I don't know. Sorry, the clicking was performed elsewhere. I'm lost. Give me a second. So this is our upbeat.
Yes.
We need to test this functionality, right? Oh yes, we need to check this functionality after we move all our logic. So the functionality is the search functionality. Do we have the search functionality?
We had some test search functionality a while ago. I don't know if it's wired up and working right now. If it is wired up and working, you could type capital NSF and press search, and it should work. In the first one, in the first input.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, no. Do inspect real quick, just so we could see it.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. I have the inspector detached. Let me open it up properly.
Yeah.
Let me refresh. Let's see. Let me explore.
Build volunteer card.
Field volunteer card is not defined. build volunteer.
Okay, yeah, so that was a different function that we had. So if you scroll down, yeah, there we go. Yeah, that was a function that Angel had built previously. And so, yeah, this function shows search results. I was wondering if this was something that we were even using at all anymore. And it is something that we could turn into some advanced search functionality later. Right now, it's just some basic search functionality. But no, it's not wired up and it's not working right now to answer your question. Yeah, so no.
We don't need to worry about it.
No, nope.
Otherwise, we can push up.
Yeah, yeah. Should be good to go. I'd say just add some comments, so like what each line of code does is clear, and then so whoever reads the code knows, and then make a pull request and we'll merge it all. They're done too, so I'm gonna see if they're making the push request too. Hold on.
So, no, I did not make a branch. The last time I was working on issue 32, so I made a branch name of 32. But this time we're not working off of any issue at all, so I can call it anything I want, I guess. So I guess I can create new branch, and I'll just call it like, I don't know, details view. I don't know, file.
I think Jim is in the group. We can ask him if we need to create a new branch. I never.
Oh, Jim, you're here.
Hey.
Should I make a new branch before I push it?
What branch are you on right now?
The volunteer search branch.
Yeah, so I would say, yeah, can you do it from the command line? I don't usually do it from Visual Studio Code, so I'm not really familiar with it. But
I mean, I try it. Let's try it here. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead.
I usually don't.
Just do the
details view or something.
Yeah, so what would normally be the command of git checkout -b and then the name of your branch? Just do that.
There we go. It says I'm on details view right now. So then commit, and push. Now let's just see what happens.
Yeah, that's way easier, right?
Yeah. Well, I still prefer command line because it's just like you see it versus clicking buttons. But this is really quick.
Details view, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I see it up here. So go ahead and do a pull request.
All right.
And yeah. Make sure you do the pull request into volunteer search branch, not main. And then, yeah, we're good to go. Cool. And they're just finishing up now too, so let me tell them to hop in here when they're done.
Which is git checkout -b, and then let's give it some meaningful name.
Hey, they just made their push, so feel free to hop into the front end when you guys are done. All right?
Yeah.
Nice.
I think this like MVC stuff is like it's so fun, but I haven't have you guys found like a good article that talks about, I've been looking even on YouTube, like I just couldn't find anything that can like help explain it in a better way.
Yeah, you have to build, man. You have to build.
Yeah. Do you have like besides the other photo you shared with us, do you have like a good article that can like walk you through with? Because I've been looking online, the ones I found are just like they still crop everything in one JS file and be like, okay, so I'm gonna be lost again.
Yeah. There's a good Udemy course that goes into it pretty well. I could share that with you, but I'm not like a big course guy, But if you really, this is one I definitely do recommend to people. It's a really good course.
So you gotta pay. I'm not.
Yeah. I wouldn't pay if it's like $100 or something like that. But if sometimes they have like a deal where it's only like $10. But the thing is with tutorials, it's like they're just, I don't know. I feel like learning happens maybe 5% of the time, you know?
When you do it.
Yeah.
I mean, with tutorial, the only thing I realize you can learn with tutorial is like HTML and CSS, but everything else you got like a build.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as like real resources, there's another dude, I think it's Decode on YouTube. He covers some MVC stuff. Let me see.
You said decode?
I think it's Decode. I'm not positive. Decode. Yeah, Decode right here. I'll go ahead and post that. I'm gonna post that in the chat. Yeah, he's pretty good. I like him. Well, Jonas, he has one large project where the project he uses MVC, and then Decode, he has some MVC related trainings that are pretty short too. They're like 30 minutes. Some of them are like an hour tops, and yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So he's good. Check out those ones. And then, but you just have to build. You know, you have to build. So, you know, obviously this project is going to be good because we're going to continue to implement MVC, and once it becomes a much more complex app, we're going to move it from this functional MVC to a class-based MVC. So you'll be able to see two different types of MVCs as well.
Okay. So right now we're doing functional MVC.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and make the pull requests, and then we'll go ahead and just review the changes that were made tonight. So I will share my screen. And if we go up to GitHub, it looks like we have two pull requests. So we have list detail view and add render details markup function to details view. This is Parker's. So we will go ahead and check this out. It doesn't look like there are any conflicts, which is really nice. I want to see. I just want to go ahead and check out the details. So we have details view, and then list detail view was Ricky's team. So let's check out the views, details view, just to look at Parker's code, Parker and his team's code. So you can see here he's exporting the function, passing in a parameter called vol, which is used several times throughout here. Yeah, and this looks good here. I'm sure the HTML actually wasn't modified at all. It was mostly just copy and pasted. He got rid of the variable. He's returning it instead of storing it in a variable first and then exporting this function so that he could use it in the other. So let's see, now that we're in the main, let's come down to his. So render volunteer list, that was Ricky's, and then render card, Ricky, Liz, James, different function, and then here we go. So render volunteer details, look how clean this is. Oh my goodness, so clean compared to having the HTML in there too. It just looks so good. Yeah. Right? Alright, cool. So we do have some comments that we don't need here anymore. That's totally fine. We can remove them next time. But basically what you're doing here is you're just calling this render details markup, passing in the vol object that you found with the find method and the ID, and then using that function and the object to create the markup, inject it into the markup. So that looks good. Cool. All right. So that pull request is going to look good. We'll go ahead and confirm that. There were two files that were modified there. And then, so we have one more pull request, and let me see.
Yes, sorry, I think I stuffed up which branch goes into which one, and I'm changing it now. I had the main one a moment ago. Oh, luckily it's already changed.
It looks like, yeah, you have volunteer search now.
Cool. All right.
Cool, cool. Yep. All right, cool. So let's check out this list details view. So basically, we have our, it was the list, right? Yes. So inside the list file, we have a main function, render list markup, and this is the function that's being exported. You can see that the data is being passed in as a parameter that's being used down here. And then this render card function, and they were deciding whether they wanted to export it or not. They discovered that they didn't have to export it, and the reason they don't have to export it is because it's never being used outside this file. It's only ever being used right here inside this file. And same thing with this get skills function. It is only being used right here, and so we don't have to export this one either because it's being used within the same file. And we also discussed to Parker, Javier, and Fisher. Y'all were in the other one, but basically, if render card and get skills are only being used by this view, then we'll just keep it in the same file as this view. But once render card is being used by multiple views, or it's just like a more generic render list or render unordered list or render something that's just being used by multiple different views, then we'd extract it out of the view and kind of bring it into its own area, like a utility, render utilities or something of that nature. So this looks good. Looks good. And then if we come to our main JS, you can see render volunteer list. Oh my goodness, it looks so clean. Looks so clean. Good job, good job. So we are targeting the root, creating the markup, passing in that data to render the markup correctly, injecting the markup into the inner HTML, and then adding event listeners afterwards. So cool, cool. And then, yeah, that looks good. So we will go ahead and accept this. This branch has conflicts that must be resolved. So let's check out the conflicts it has. All right, so it looks like in the list details view, we are importing a list view, and the volunteer search branch, we're importing this. So we do want the list view, and we do want the details view. So we'll go ahead and keep both of them. Okay. Yeah, because these are all required in this. We're rendering home, rendering list, rendering details. Cool, cool. We have our render home function, render volunteer list function, looking good. Our get skills. This block of code is actually not going to exist in this file anymore. So we'll be able to just cut that out entirely. And then we have volunteer details page. This, we'll figure out what to do with this eventually. And then, yeah, that all looks good. Cool. Commit merge. And we're going into the volunteer search branch. So we'll go ahead and merge that now, and we should be good to go. I'll go ahead and delete this branch. Feel free to delete the branches on your local repositories. And then if we come and we look at we only have our volunteer search branch now. You can see we have our main JS. which is looking so clean at this point now. Good. We're importing our data. We're importing our views. Ricky asked a really good question too. I'm going to share that with everybody in just a minute. But basically, initially, he was importing the data into here. But with Model View Controller, one of the reasons why we even use Model View Controller is because you don't want the source of data communicating or the model communicating with any of the views. All communication between the model and the views are done through the controller. And so instead of importing the data directly into here, they realized that they needed to import the data as a parameter into the function and pass that data into this function in the controller. And so if we come back over to the main.js and you see the render volunteer list, you can see that passing the data to the view function here, and the data is imported into the controller. So any data access by the view is done through the controller. So the controller will pass the data to the view. And yes, this is still just a function we're not really using right now, but we will be. This is looking super clean. Nice. And same thing here. We found a volunteer object to render the volunteer details page. This is data that we're going to be using, and so we're just passing it directly into the view with the controller. And then we just have some core setup stuff here, navigation and initial load, and yeah, looking really good. It's looking really good. This feature is actually almost done. So, I mean, we have some fine tuning to do as far as styles go, and then responsive design. But besides that, we're pretty close to being able to merge this feature into the main branch and start a new feature. Does anyone have any questions on just the MVC or anything we did today, even the first session?
None for me. It was a good night.
Awesome. Cool. Hopefully all the nights are smooth like tonight too. We had that discussion on Monday just about moving forward with a specific way of doing things, and I think today worked out really well. The one thing we weren't able to do was nobody stepped up and did research on the Google Maps, which is totally fine. That is a piece I do want to focus on. So it was extremely guided tonight, which I really like. I think it went by really smooth, and I do want to continue to encourage people to do research, like the Google Maps documentation and that sort of thing. But I mean, just making sure everybody's getting their hands dirty and typing some code is the most important thing, and also grasping the concepts that we're covering. So yeah. What's up, Chance?
Research on the Google Maps.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
what did you find? What's up?
I said I actually did some research with Google Maps, and I have a website using the Google Map.
Okay, cool.
I'll put it in a projects folder.
Cool. What'd you find out about the Google Maps API as far as like using it in this project?
Well, the way I do it is go to Google Maps. You do you basically put in a link in your code using an iframe to it. When you go to Google Maps, there's a way you click on Google Maps, you get the code that lets you put the Google Map into your iframe. You just copy it into your iframe, and then you have a Google Map on your iframe. I will put it in the projects file with a link to my website so that people can see it.
All right. Can you add a link to the documentation too?
A link to... I didn't do the documentation. I just did it. But I will I will look at it tomorrow and see if I can find the actual documentation.
All right, I could go ahead and do it too. Just I'll pull up the documentation real quick. Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted you to know that I did do something. Okay.
Nah, you were in a group. You were working in a group too, weren't you?
I was just watching. They did all of one.
Oh, okay. Cool, cool. All right, so Google Maps platform, location and mapping solutions, make the world your platform. Google Maps platform. Explore use cases. I think Google Maps platform documentation. Here we go. All right, so I'm gonna copy and paste this, and this says it's so thorough, like you don't even understand. You could do so many different things with it. So really, I think it's about writing down the requirements that we're looking for before even starting to dig through the documentation. Otherwise, it's just really easy to get lost and go down rabbit holes. So basically, what we're doing is we are using address number, address information, city, state, and zip code information to display a, I don't know, 75 by 75 pixel map to the screen, essentially, at least on mobile, maybe a little bit bigger on desktop, but that's essentially what we're trying to do. So it can't be too hard. The iframe thing I'm thinking about, because if you add an iframe to the HTML, then that means that no matter which page we're rendering, then that iframe is still going to be imported, and we only want it being imported if a specific details page is loaded. And so we'll just have to figure out how to add it as an iframe only when our details page is being rendered, but that can't be too hard either. So yeah, awesome, cool. So we will actually, one last thing before we sign off. I just want to go to the issues because we did bust out a few of them today. So we converted render volunteer details. So this one is done. We'll close. Who worked on this one? The render volunteer details. That was Parker.
Javier and Marcel, I guess.
Marcel.
No, Marcel Fisher. Fisher.
Oh, Fisher. Cool. Yep. All right. Close with comment. Cool. And then convert volunteer list. This was Liz, Ricky, and James. Good job. And then add initial load.
And Liz as well. Sorry, and Liz.
Oh, I added Liz.
Okay.
Yeah, I put her before your name. Add initial load event listeners. So that was actually already done. So we could just close that. And then let me go ahead and just see what it looks like right now. So I am on, let's do git checkout volunteer search, git pull, and code. Cool. All right, I just want to compare this to the Figma to see. All right, so as far as the paragraph goes, I think the size is good. And the read more maybe just needs a little margin. So we'll leave, yeah, we still have a little fine tuning to do. The whole page needs a margin on the left and the right, so that'll make it look a lot better too. But besides that, yeah. So the read more probably just needs a little margin on the top. And then, yeah, it looks pretty good. Looks pretty close. So awesome, cool. Yeah, so I'll keep that for now. We'll just keep, because we have add paragraph and read more button. Yeah, so we'll go ahead, we'll keep that just until we add the margin and fine tune it a little bit more. Yeah, cool. Awesome, awesome. It's looking good, looking good. Looking way better, man. We went from 300 lines of code to 86 lines of code. That's nice. It's very clear what's happening here. Though, you know, as we continue to add more features and more functionality, we will grow from a single controller to multiple controllers, and you know, this file will become a 300 line code file of code again. So yeah, as they continue to grow and become 300, 400, 500 line of code files, we continue to break them up and modularize them into you know, like directories like views and other files too. So as the views increases, like as we add features, when we go in and we add like our nonprofit create account feature or whatever we call it, we'll actually break these 3 views into like a volunteer search, and we'll drag them all into there just so we could really keep things organized as we continue to build out. But this main is always going to be our main. Eventually we won't even have we might not even have like functions that have to do with specific like render volunteer list. That might not be in here anymore. We might have a controller specifically for our volunteer search feature. We might have a controller specifically for a nonprofit create account feature. You know, like as the application grows, sometimes the number of controllers actually grows as well, and then you could have one core controller. There's a ton of different ways to do it, but the most important thing is we're starting with function based controller. So you can see these are all functions. Our controller is made up of all functions, but as the application continues to grow in complexity, and you know, and we have application state, and as we add application state, we'll transition over to a class based, so you get to see that transition as well. So yeah, cool stuff. Cool stuff. Slowly but surely, it's coming along. It's coming along. You guys are all doing really, really good. So great job. Cool. So we will be meeting back here on Monday. I had a few people reaching out to me about the 30-minute sessions and stuff like that. So basically what I'm doing to make it easier, because sometimes I don't get the message for like a day or something, I want to go ahead and create a Calendly account. That way I'm just gonna have like open hours at certain times, and whoever books first gets that time basically, and then we'll chat and we'll continue working. And I'm curious to hear what people's actual goals are, just one-on-one, because you know, everybody's unique individuals, you know, and everybody has different goals. So I'll be interested in hearing those and doing what I can to help you all achieve those too. So yeah.
Hey, so Monday is Christmas Day.
Oh yeah, we're not doing Monday. No.
Okay.
No, we're not doing Monday. We'll do Wednesday though.
Fuck.
Yeah, my bad. No. I'm just like sitting here in the room by myself. There's a tear coming down my eye, like, where's everybody? Nah, that's funny. What's up, Javier? I saw you on mute.
I was having an issue there in the break rooms with my mic. Something about push to talk, and so I tried to resolve that, but I couldn't get it resolved in time.
Oh, do you have to push every time you use your mic?
No, not in this main, I guess, channel. but when we go into the breakout rooms or whatnot, then it it pushes you to have to push to talk, and then for some reason I couldn't talk no matter what I tried. Not sure.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Oh, that was what I was trying to message you about when you're in a breakout room. It still didn't work?
No, it did not. I tried earlier, actually. Yeah.
Oh.
Actually, I do have a question. When we move on a breakout 3, my microphone was suppressed. Like did it happen to anybody else?
Yeah, it did. It happened to Liz too. I just set up these breakout rooms today, so some of the permissions were messed up, but I'm pretty sure they're all fixed now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, here was one of them was still wrong. Use voice activity was off, so that could have been affecting it. I'm just gonna check it all right now just to make sure those look good. Use voice that. Yep, that one was off too, so that could have affected you. And then cool. And let me just check the last one. Okay, that looks good. And use voice activity. Cool. Yep. All right, cool. They all look good now, so you shouldn't have any problems with talking or communicating anymore.
Thanks.
Yep. Cool. Alrighty, y'all. I'll talk to you soon. Feel free to reach out anytime. Enjoy the rest of your weeks.
You guys.
Hi.
See ya. Bye bye.
See ya.